This lesson is going to be a little bit counterintuitive. A lot of people talk about the importance of hard work, and that's very, very true. Hard work is crucial to picking up concepts and learning in general. But I do want to talk about people who you see that they're like, wow, they have a very robust social life, but they're also learning on a very deep level, and they're also super intelligent. Why is it that that's the case? It might be illuminated by this concept of diffused versus focused mode thinking. I first want to share with you a quote. It goes, social climbers strive to be aristocrats, but their efforts prove them no such thing. Aristocrats do not try. They have already arrived. And so that idea of being in the flow, essentially, or not trying too hard, we need to carry that with us. And there's a reason why, and we'll explain it from a neuroscience perspective. Your brain has two modes of thinking, the diffused and the focused mode. And so in Dr. Oakley's book, she talks about that the brain switches between a highly attentive state and a more relaxed resting state networks. We'll call the thinking process related to these two different types of networks, the focused mode and the diffused mode, respectively. These modes are highly important for learning. The focused mode is associated with the concentrating ability of the brain's prefrontal cortex, located right behind your forehead, right? And so this is essentially where the focused mode lies. And this is an important mode for us to solve problems. Now, it's not the only mode, and it actually is another. There actually is another mode that helps us solve problems. And the diffuse mode now is insights. So diffuse mode insights often flow from preliminary thinking that's been done in the focused mode. So you start by thinking about a concept, right? And then after you stop intently focusing on a problem, then the diffuse mode takes over. And the diffuse mode is essentially a network across the entirety of your brain. It's more scattered throughout and interconnected. And so the diffuse mode actually has a crucial part to play in learning. So learning often involves a complex flickering of neuroprocessing, among different areas of the brain, as well as back and forth between hemispheres. So this means that thinking and learning is more complicated than simply switching between the focused and diffuse modes, right? And so when we look at diffuse mode, it doesn't allow you to focus on the problem intently, but it does allow you to search for the neural networks that will help you solve your problem. The focus mode, you can use the focus mode to deepen skills you already have some development in, right? So that's like becoming more fluent in a language. But the reason the diffuse mode, this relaxed state, meaning moving your brain away from the problem, taking a break, going on a walk, thinking of something else, working on another hobby, watching a movie, is super important because in that time, the diffuse mode of your brain allows you to figure out where the neural networks are that will help you solve the problem. So maybe it's over here, but maybe it's actually back here, right? It's a series of networks, essentially, that might be better fit for the problem. And so sometimes the focused mode, when you're intently in there, it's trying to solve the problem from a different area of your brain. And so you're led to frustration, essentially, because you're not using the right part of your brain, or you haven't made the right neural connections, and you keep trying and trying, and it's not clicking. And so that becomes a problem. And that's why a rest, a good walk, watching a movie, whatever, can be incredibly helpful. So you've seen people who have tried hard, or maybe you've done it yourself. They keep trying harder and harder, hours upon hours, pushing, forcing it, and in fact, they end up burning out and performing worse, right? Because, again, they've used the wrong parts of the brain. So while using the focus mode, you can inadvertently try to solve a problem with the wrong neural network or part of your brain. The harder you try, the more frustrated you become, because the solution lies in a different part of your brain. So the key takeaway for learning in this lesson is that breaks are not just important. They are crucial to successful learning. And I want to talk about a topic that Winston Churchill touched upon. He said that essentially you can't stop obsessing over your brain, at least, or his brain at least, couldn't stop obsessing over anything that was put in front of it. And the only way that he found rest from obsessing over politics was to obsess over painting. So he couldn't stop obsession at all. But what he could do was obsess about something else. So find a different hobby, find a different skill, find something that you love, whether watching movies, going on walks, or snowboarding, or skiing, or another hobby entirely different, that you could really immerse yourself, get your mind completely off the learning, and that will help. And that's why you see a lot of students who essentially are like they almost seem to have it all. They're out hanging out, going to parties, whatever, but then they're also really able to focus. It's because they're doing multiple different things that they love, and as they switch their brain over to a different endeavor, hobby, problem that they want to solve or work on, it completely relaxes their brain in the sense that they no longer are stuck in this one neural pathway, and then can use their diffuse brain to switch to the correct neural pathway to solve the problem. So I hope this gives you insight. Breaks are not just important, they are crucial. Find another thing, another hobby that you have, that you're obsessed with, that you're passionate about, that will take your mind off of the studying and put it completely on another thing. For me, it was soccer. Whenever I would play soccer, I'd be completely focused. Or jujitsu, you're completely trying to prevent somebody from choking you out. And so you're completely in the moment solving another problem. And then when you finally go back to focus mode thinking, you found that you're able to make the insight necessary to achieve the goal that you have in terms of studying and learning.